Well, that's what I get. Well, I deleted the original live, so I'm not going to go through the intro again. But yeah, it's not going to let me load. I even did a reboot and everything, and it still won't work. However, there is another way to do it. um, it'll just be a little bit slower, but I don't think we'll be on for more than an hour. Anyway, welcome. I think Lydia Washington was first, and Mystic Toxin. Hello. All right, so this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. I am going to do it um, where I just bring up the slides as I need them. Ooh, the lights are flickering. It is like horizontal rain out there. It sounds like the fire department is out there spraying down the window with their hose. Now, I don't suspect that there's going to be a tornado or anything like that, but they did send a warning. But um, don't worry, I'm in a very safe space right now. I may as well be in a concrete bunker. Okay. Anyway, I know. Here we go again, right? It. Yeah. I think what's happening is weather related. That's what I believe. It is weather related, and yeah, it's weather related, and there's really nothing you can do. So I'm sure it'll work just fine tomorrow. Maybe whatever satellite link or whatever it is just not working. So, but that's okay. We have a way around it. I have a way around it. So let me do this. Go over here, and who knows? Maybe I won't even need all these slides. So anyway, what had happened was today there was a spot of bother with the security for Charles and Camilla. I don't know what happened. So, okay, let me set it up for you. Earlier today, someone said that Murad had a video, or they watched Murad's video, and it was something to do with um, they had to be pulled away from a function. So the first thing I started thinking was, wait, I have that video. And I do have a video, but I don't know if the copyright is worth me sharing it, if you know what I mean. So I never have shared it. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to find it again. And I will definitely try to share it with you tomorrow. But Charles was not there. Camilla, maybe some of you all have seen it, but Camilla had to be rushed out of a place. And trust me when I say this, she was galloping along at a clip that was much greater than what we just saw with this thing today, which looked like a big nothing. Chances are everybody's just a little bit extra vigilant because of what happened with the Trumpster, right? So everybody is a little more vigilant. So right here, you can see Charles is shaking hands with someone. Camilla, she was in another area. So King Charles and Queen Camilla rushed to safety during security scare. Now, I even believe that I heard them mention something about the roof in the video that's going around. Can't be 100% sure. That's what I thought I heard. Maybe not. Yes, no, maybe. But whatever it was, they got them out of there and took them to a nearby hotel. And then once they got the all clear, then they were able to resume their function, whatever it was. In Camilla's case, sampling all of the food. So take a look here. This is the royal variety. It's not the first time that those two have been involved in a security scare. Um, it happened before when they were on their way to the royal variety. Um, okay. You know what? This is going to work out just fine. I can just do it slide by slide. So, what I'm doing is I'm just moving the slide from the other place and putting it in the. Well, anyway, I couldn't explain it if I wanted to, but I can just stay a step ahead. And if I didn't say anything, you wouldn't even know the difference. So, the only thing is I won't be able to see. Um, I won't be able to see, that. But since I know you could hear me, it doesn't matter. Let me see. Those rails are copycats. They are copying. Myra V. Myra V, please put away your tinfoil hat. There's no conspiracy theory here. Actually, it's not a theory. You might be right. You may very well be right. Just like some people can miraculously appear at Wimbledon, tan, face snatched back real tight. Did you see how tight that face was? Did you see how tight that face? Wait, let me make sure you can hear me. Yeah, that face was so tight you could bounce a quarter on it. That's how tight that face was. It was so tight. I'm convinced that there was like a big, I think if you like went through the hairline, you could probably find a big gigantic zip tie, and that is what's keeping everything so tight. That's my opinion, that there's a big zip tie that's keeping everything tight. Now, for Camilla, I'm thinking she probably is suffering from something like a Marie Antoinette-itis or Marie Antoinette phobia, where she's of the belief, or that maybe she's suffering from, what do they call it, imposter syndrome. Uh-oh, the lights just blinked. Oh, it blinked again. It blinked again. So listen, I'm gonna just I'm gonna hang out as long as I can. But if the Wi-Fi blinks out, then it's been one. I mean, I'm not afraid, but just so you know, the lights are blinking, and it seems like the worst of the storm has passed. I don't hear the rain anymore. It is a short-lived storm. Whatever it is, it comes and it goes really fast because someone else further further west of me, they've already had it and it's come and gone. So very short lived. So I didn't see any reason to change anything, but technology changed it for me. Oh yeah, Jan Martin. It's kind of like, how when you want to close a loaf of bread, you just kind of gather it and you put like one of those little clips on it. It's the same principle, only this way you gather a bunch of skin, right? Look, I can bring up the slides from earlier. I just can't add any new ones. But I'll explain it to you. You gather a bunch of flesh and you put a zip tie to hold everything back. And then let me see. Uh You see what I mean? You see how tightly pulled everything is? I mean, everything, in theory, everything is pulled so tight, even her shoulders are pulled back. Can you see that? See how her shoulders are kind of pulled real far back? I think that's the zip tie. So at some point, you can't do that forever. So I'm not saying that she has a zip tie, but I'm saying that if someone who suddenly looked as young as she looks had a zip tie holding everything back, when you go and nip that zip tie and release, everything, you kind of go back to that again. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that she is using a zip tie or any other type of intervention. But if she were, then in theory, that's how it works. Thank you, Catherine. Um, wait, you're not Catherine, are you? You're not going to send the royal protection after me, are you? Hi, Lady T. Thank you so much for being here. Um, okay, I'm gonna see if this works one more time. Let me see. Oh, come on, please work. Huh? Ah, nothing. Nothing. Okay, no worries. But also, just so you know, the storm has passed already. It is very quiet now, and the power is still on. So I'm happy. All right, so let me go to the next slide. I can make this work. Oh, you know what? This one, I can still use the ones from earlier. So, there was a security issue, as I said, right? Well, I have a theory about that. I really do have a theory. Now, it may have been, it may have been a very amorous bull. Let me explain. Earlier today, there was an article that said, and mooing sing, and amusing, right? Amusing welcome. Queen Camilla left in hysterics after Frisky Cow mounts each other during an exhibition while a bewildered King Charles watches on. Um, Let me tell you, if Charles was watching on, at his age, he was probably humming the tune "The Way We Were," because I'm pretty sure at this point is he's down to a handshake. That's about as intimate as he can get, a handshake. So I can't believe the Daily Mail made such a big deal out of this, but they did. So I'm thinking that perhaps that bull may have may have eyes for, well, I can't say a human being because I can't be quite sure exactly what the consort is, but let me share this with you. Apparently, they said that this bull, and I think that was the security breach. This bull had a wandering eye and was walking around um mooing Camilla. Mooing him, well, however you could moo that sound. That cow was mooing for Camilla. That cow was like that cow was in search of a heifer. That's what I think. That cow was in search of a heifer. And I'm afraid desperate times calls for desperate measures, and any old heifer will do. When oh, do you understand what I'm saying? I, as tacky as it sounds, who knows what kind of special relationship there might be between cow and beast. So the cow was feeling a bit frisky. And of course, it made some of the other is you call it bovines, right? It made some of the other bovines a bit jealous. So you had this cow with those eyes for the consort, and this one was generally just kind of pissed, trying to figure out what is going on. So it was quite a sight, and I think that's why they had to get the the king and the queen consort out of there, because I do believe that Marie Antoinette caused a bit of a stir, or should I say, Camilla Antoinette caused a bit of a stir. But it's probably not the first time. Okay, so that's one theory. Do you want to hear my other theory? Because I do have another one and I will share it with you. Maybe, just maybe it wasn't on that type of thing. Maybe it was something completely different that got things confusing. Um, I mean, let's face it. Hello. Check it out here. You see what I'm saying? What is the worst thing that can happen to someone like this? What is the worst thing that can happen? I'm going to tell you. There was a report. There was a report. Stay with me. I'm bringing it up now. But there was a report of someone lurking around the area that seemed to have ill intentions, and he was carrying something that could have been very hurtful, right? I'm going to show you, especially to the consort. Wait for it. Wait for it. They said that they saw a man stalking, kind of walking in the shadows, just out of sight from royal protection, and he was carrying a mirror. He was armed with a mirror. Now, that would have had the consort on the verge of collapse had he gotten close enough and held up the I told you I'd come back a little messy, didn't I? That would have had the consort on the verge of collapse had he gotten close enough with that mirror. So that's my other theory. Theory number one, an amorous cow or bull or whatever. And theory number two, the man with the mirror. Either one of those would have sent off all kind of alerts. It would have sounded all kind of alarm bells to the royal protection, who are not only there to protect their safety but their dignity. Because could you imagine? Because you see, all of the mirrors at Clarence House and the other royal residence, they're kind of like those mirrors that you see at the fun house at a carnival. They don't actually depict exactly what's going on. So they have been, doing that for a while, so not to let on that it's not 40 years ago. It's not 40 years ago. So yeah, that's my other theory. So let me know what you think in the comment. But I think it was one or the other. Either there was a a cow or bull or whatever in heat, or there was someone stalking the consort with a mirror. And let me tell you, um, I am, um, you know, being a bit how do I put it, extra with this, but they take security very, very serious. And one of the things that could have gotten someone hurt is that, Camilla's still getting used to having money, right? She's still getting used to the idea that she's got money. She's got Charles' credit card, his Centurion card or whatever, which card he's using, Bank of England. Um, she wouldn't put the food down. As a matter of fact, most places they go, she is an absolute savage when it comes to the food. She would not stop eating. This is Camilla at most outings. She just, I don't know where the weight goes, but she just gorges herself, salivating, frothing at the mouth, creams and preserves and such, um, slathered all over her face. Very common for her. Very common. And I tell you, when it comes to Camilla, it is eat or be eaten. Okay? It's eat or be eaten. I pity the fool who comes between Camilla and an eclair. So I know. It's quite the sight. It is quite the sight. I would think a bit embarrassing for the nation, but you know, I don't want to be hypercritical about the situation because we all God's children. And wait, there's more. How about that time when somebody um, made the mistake and brought some fish and chips? I mean, look at this. Look at this. Grease and juice and all kind of stuff running down her arms. And you see how she stops and stare at you? She can be quite savage when it comes to her food. Yeah. So, but okay. I'm gonna move on from that. So far, I'm doing okay with these slides. I'm doing it the long way. I'm gonna put that there while I clear out the other ones so I can bring in some new ones. Ha. Okay. Uh, all right. Take that away. All right, this is working out so far. You know, no sooner than that storm came, it is already gone. Now, to show you how serious the royal protection is about the safety of that family, everybody except for the Sussexes, of course, let me show you. They actually have a royal protection officer that is hidden in places where you don't expect to see them. Let me show you this. You won't believe it. For most people, you think that's just one of Camilla's hats, right? But somewhere hidden in all of that bleach blonde, butch body, bleach blonde, butch body, anyway, somewhere hidden in all of that, um, what is it, Tracy hat, there is a royal protection officer. If you just kind of squint your eyes, you can just barely see the royal protection officer. It's a small person that kind of is stationed on top of her head. You see there? Some people mistake it as Grover from Sesame Street, but that is a royal protection officer. They hide in places where you don't expect to see them. So I know. I mean, it's just it's incredible. It's incredible. How do you how do you beat that? I don't think any nation, I don't think any law enforcement, police force, any security force is as resourceful as the Met Police and the Royal Protection Officers. They literally have stationed themselves in that hat. So if you think the hat is ugly, there's a reason. It's for safety purposes. Okay? So I shouldn't give this stuff away because I feel like I'm compromising their security by letting on, but whatever, whatever. The public has a right to know. So, and then of course there's this the other thing is nobody knows the whereabouts of Eggboy. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe they saw a young man leaving the supermarket with some eggs. And as you know, Charles hasn't had the best of luck when it comes to eggs. So maybe they could not establish the whereabouts of Eggboy. And until they find him, um, the king is not safe anywhere. And you know how I feel about the royal family. I do want him to be safe. His safety is like one of my biggest concerns. I stay up at night gnashing my teeth thinking about Charles III's safety. I mean, one rogue egg can ruin an entire uniform or something. So, see, that's that. I call him Egg Boy. I'm sure he has a name, but I call him Egg Boy. Now, he was given community service for egging the king, but and listen, whatever you think, violence like this, and this is considered a, a violent act, should never happen. I don't care if it's the head of state or the head of the school board. We have to protect people in our societies, our various societies. So, um, but when Egg Boy is not targeting members of the royal family, they say he's been trying out for the New York Giants. So um, there you go. Wow, this is working out a lot better than I thought it would. Now, there's someone who is very, very, very disappointed today, and and you could understand why. Could you imagine if you changed everything about yourself, no matter what the whispers or no matter what impact it has on your love life or your reputation? What if you went out of your way to be someone that you're not? Only for you to um, find yourself on the outside looking in. I will show you in just a moment. Give me just a second here. Um, Unfortunately for Tim Scott, who has grown a beard, do you see his beard? He has grown a beard because he thought that he was going to be selected as vice president. Um, okay, sorry about that. Yes, he has grown a beard because he thought that he was going to be the vice president of the United States, or at least he was going to run on the ticket with the Orange Menace, only to find out that proposing to this poor young lady, um, as a matter of fact, I got to tell you something. Doesn't she look like a 1970s tennis player, if you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? Um, kind of like the girl in high school who didn't want to take home economics, or you know didn't want to take the sewing class in high school and decided to get into diesel repair. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Doesn't she kind of remind you of someone who, hmm, uh, someone who was driving a 4x4 when 4x4s wasn't cool? Could you imagine? Could you imagine what she would have put on the wedding registry? If you understand what I'm saying, I could. Lots of socket sets and drills, and anyway, going, 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 gone. I don't know who did this, but that is pretty clever. Ghosted. I think the idea is that he is going to ghost her um, any day now. So poor Tim Scott is walking around the convention, um, well, for lack of a better word, with egg on his face. Now, my favorite depiction of today is this one. Oh boy. Some people are just too clever. They are too clever for words. All right, there you go. Duh. Which way did he go? Which way did he go? Huh? I love this one. Poor Tim Scott sitting alone on the swing. Then bought that house. Don't even need to fill up the swimming pool. What's the point? Nobody's moving in with you. And of course, sitting alone, maybe at his mama's kitchen table or whatever that is. Big waterhead boy, just sitting up there all by himself, looking sad and rejected and disappointed. Looked like he grew a beard out for no good reason. Chef Sandy Love, hello, Baron, all our amazing moderators and our squatty family. Baron, please do take some break if you need to. We really appreciate you. Well, thank you so much, Chef Sandy Love, and I appreciate you saying that. And I treasure those words. And thank you for the 23 months membership. Um, but yeah, I did have a very busy week, but I promise everything is fine now. Um, yeah, I don't anticipate I'll be that busy for quite some time, but it was a busy week. And then on top of that, I had that edited video, which took me 2 days. Now, I know that it's not going to be a lot of people that watch it, but gosh, it was very informative, wasn't it? I thought it was. YM, oh, by the way, thank you again. YM George says, I'm sure they're married out of common interests. Like they're both interested in remaining virgins after marriage, closet, etc. Thank you so much, YM Droid. And very, very wise observation. So, as I was saying earlier, sometimes people just have things in common. Like, for instance, as I pointed out, the way that the Welleses, they both decided that they couldn't be bothered when it comes to the women in sports, but they both come out for men. She came out to present the trophy for the men's final, whatever you call it, and a championship. And he came out for the men's final. You see what I'm saying? They both seem to come out for the same reasons. No pun intended. I mean, you could not make that up. How in the world? How do you explain this? How do you explain this? One of these days, people are going to start connecting the dots and putting two and two together. Long as you don't try to put those two together. Also, have you noticed that other than what do you call it? Uh, the I was about to call it the birth of the nation. The troop in the colors. You just don't see them at all. The only time the closest William has been to Kate all year were those alleged body doubles, right? Other than that, a facsimile of Kate, a reimagined or not Kate Middleton, a AI Kate does not count. He just won't go near her. But look at the way he shows compassion for his fellow man. Interesting. That's all I'll say is very, very interesting. Thank you again for the super chat. And of course, pride cometh before the fall. I mean, look at that. They are shameless. They are shameless. Okay, let me get back to where I was. Um, Gonna get rid of those so I can bring some more slides over. Ooh, okay. This is kind of interesting. This is kind of interesting. Let me grab those. And by the way, thank you all for your patience. I really do appreciate this because I thought this was going to be a complete disaster without the ability to use those slides. Now, there's the England that we see in America, right? We have a certain idea. And actually, I think it's a very grand idea, right, of what it means to be British, right? Very different from the way the rest of the world see Britain. Like right here, how Americans see the British: bowler hats, umbrellas, finely tailored suits, compared to how the Europeans see the British: loud, obnoxious, drunk, fighting. Um, it's like two different, it's like a tale of two Britons, right? We see the British as these very erudite, posh people, where in actuality, the British sports fans are notorious around Europe for being loud and destructive. I mean, to tell you, most people are not glad to see them coming. And it's really unfortunate. The thing is, I could never defend the United States for the amount of violence that we have, especially where firearms are concerned. But in sports, it is rare, especially when it comes to race. It is very rare that there's any like threats of violence toward a player on a given team because of a, you know, missed opportunity, a missed goal or something like that. Very rare. I mean, you'll get abused, but you're not going to get racially abused. And it's very rare that you have those massive brawls that is inside the confines of a stadium. It does happen, but again, usually not to the degree that you have with the football fans in Europe. That is and a player being racially abused while they're playing the game, that is practically unheard of. It is dealt with severely the few times that it has happened, but in the past, like for instance, Jackie Robinson, oh, he was abused in the worst possible way. Um, but that hasn't happened for quite some time. So very different. Um, and I have to say, I'm very like I wouldn't go to a football game in Europe because they say like the skinheads and stuff like that is there. It's just a bad place. although some black people do, I probably won't be one of them, especially if it's in the UK. That is the last place I would want to go. Um, I've heard stories. I've seen reports, and it is nothing nice. So I don't know if there's anything to be done about it because people seem to be set in their ways. So that's the general American view of the British, is what you see at the top. At the bottom, the Europeans see them another way. And of course, AI has a completely different depiction of what it means to be British, right? They have a completely different idea of what it means to be British. Pubs, the St. George flag, bare chest, um, round hats, or whatever they call those. Yeah, it's very different from the way. That's what AI thinks Britain is. The British fans, AI see them as very fleshy. Yeah, a lot of flesh. Yes, both Spanish men and women football won the World Cup. Their tennis player won Wimbledon. It's a good day to be Spanish, I suppose, right? Speaking of which, I do have something for that. I'm going to show you what lured um, the Princess of Wales away from her medical team. And Carlos seems to be what lured her away from her medical team. All it took was a hot young Spaniard, and next thing you know, she's out there smiling and grinning, zip tied, blow dried. Yeah, smiling and grinning, zip tied and blow dried. That's all it took to get her out of bed, to make her presentable enough to go out in public. Anyway, I love this photo. I really love this photo. It's almost like being prom king and prom queen, right? Very cool. So, of course, he amused her. I think he was very polite, which he should be. You know, he is a guest in their country. And generational wealth is being generated from his talent. And, best to, and plus, they have a royal family in Spain. So he's not lost with the idea of it. And then these are some of the photos from the past. I love all these. These are very, very cool. And just think, only two people in all of the world will know what it's like any given year to take these photos. That makes it very, very special. Yeah, very polite, very polite. Oh yeah, yeah. Um, what's her name? Henry VIII. I was about to say Henry of Eighth. Henry the Eighth said that the only reason why she went to Troop in the Colors was so that she could justify going to the Wimbledon. That must be really cool that you only have to work twice a year. Twice a year. The next time we see her will be the Christmas Carol. Yep. The next time we see her will be the Christmas Carol. You know, under any other circumstances, the media would ask some very tough questions. If the Daily Mail would ask as many questions about this arrangement the royal family has, um, as much as they ask the questions about uh, Joe Biden, then maybe they would be considered doing their jobs. Maybe people would consider they're doing their jobs. But no, they got every question in the world for Joe Biden. They have all these criticisms. They stoke these flames of hatred against people of of all stripes. But the royal family, they're protected, which makes it what? The British tabloid media is a protection racket. They were able to buy protection, and all they had to do was sacrifice the Sussexes. They are even protecting Andrew. They're even protecting Andrew. So, I don't hold out. Um, I'm not going to hold my breath that one of these days that somebody will do an in-depth report about the tabloid media, but we do have that thing coming up with ITV, and I hope that that will shed some much needed light on things. I, of course, have my doubts that they're going to go far enough, but it's a start. It's a start. I'll take what I can get. So check it out. Uh, it's like a cartoon character come to life. Shrek is here, and Shrek decided it's time to go to a wedding. Yeah, that is the embodiment of Shrek. And look at how the guy back there is like, oh God, it is. He just looks silly. He looks gross, all wrinkled and frumpy. And then of course you can see how his body tapers down to those little tiny ankles like Yosemite Sam, right? Like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon character. Everything just kind of tapers down to those little ankles, followed by the big clown feet. And then is that his wife or whatever she is? He has to drag her along the way because she doesn't want to be seen standing next to that big ogre. Yeah, he just looks ridiculous. He really does. I mean, check it out. The only thing that's missing is a jackass. That's the only thing that's missing. Okay. Oh, 48 minutes. All right. And I think I'm almost done. So we are going to step on it. We are going to step on it. Let me see how many slides I got left. Not many. Not many. I'm going to close out. As a matter of fact, I'm going to close out um, on a more serious note. Do you realize that it has been 25 years tomorrow? It will have been 25 years since John F. Kennedy Jr., um, his wife Carolyn, and sister in law, they all died in that plane crash. It has been 25 years. And I am like, where did the time go? Where did the time go? I can't explain to you how confused I am that it's been 25 years. I mean, I still remember, I think it was what, 1999? I still remember when it happened. The search and everything, it was nightmarish, but it did happen, unfortunately. It wasn't a dream. And of course, I don't believe in this idea that there's some Kennedy curse or anything like that. But, they're a big family. They are a very big family. And life happens. Life happens. So what can you do? But okay, let me share a couple of images with you. And there are certain things about him that remind me of Prince Harry, and that, of course, is growing up in front of the camera the way he has. You know, it's nothing that he asked for, but it happened. And unfortunately, oh, let me see. Am I able to do that? Nope, that won't work. So let me try it like this then. Let me try it another way. So if he was born in 1960, then how old was he when he died? There you go. Good looking guy. Has those very dark good looks from his mom. Well, I mean, I think it's because watching him grow up in front of the camera. And what's so interesting, he said one time that he really wasn't sure how much of his youth he remembers compared to, because his memories, a lot of his youth, should I say, was recorded. And for a lot of other people growing up at that time, there's a lot of home movies and photographs and everything, but not as much as someone like John. Um, and there he is riding the train. He ignored the paparazzi most days. He just learned to live with them. And one of the most touching stories that I ever heard about him, oh, he was 38. Thank you for that. One of the more touching things that I heard, I mean, it was very simple. It wasn't anything so extraordinary, but one photographer, I think he said he dropped his lens cover, and without breaking, his stride or anything like that, he politely bent down and picked it up and gave it to him, even though, you know, you're making my life very um, miserable. You're making it very difficult for me. Here's your camera lens. He said nothing. He was very polite. They said he was like painfully polite to people. It just breaks your heart how polite he was to people. But because just like with the paparazzi of modern day, they were making so much money from him. Yeah, I mean that hair, that Kennedy hair. One day I saw William Kennedy Smith. You may remember he got in trouble in a very Me Too type of way. And he's not even all that good looking, right? But he's tall. He had those piercing blue eyes and that huge wall of hair. And there was these very professional women that seemed to be hanging all over him. And I said, "You're a, that Kennedy guy, aren't you?" And he just kind of smiled and said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, thought so." It was surreal seeing him because, in a way, when you're that close to, someone from the Kennedy family, because they tend to have those very striking features, even, the ones that were not related to Jackie O, they still had some very striking features that you just could not, you couldn't avoid noticing that they were very, very physically large people, right? Not fat, not so tall, but just very large and fit. So yeah, yeah, so beautiful and intelligent. His death was a tragic loss to America. It really was. It really was. And I believe it was they were buried at sea. I think they were cremated and buried at sea, which ugh, I didn't like that, but it's what the families wanted. Um but yeah, and for the Bissett family, suffering not one but several losses all in the same day like that, my heart really go out to them as well because they lost two family members. And here's a collage of photos that I just thought I would share with you guys. But so yeah, tomorrow is the 25th anniversary, and there is this weird kind of connection in that um, you have that youthful quiet strength from John, and it took him several times to pass the bar exam. He had a emotional intelligence for sure, but the bar exam, that was a problem for him. It took him what, 2 3 times to pass that bar exam, but finally he did. So that's a good thing. And of course the paparazzi, um uh, was it Carolyn Bessette Kennedy? She had a very delicate disposition, and she did not do well with the paparazzi. She did not do very well with the paparazzi. I think it's a testament to Megan's core strength that so far we have not seen um, that type of thing with the paparazzi. Megan was always polite, and of course, to the point where Harry was like, you cannot speak to those people. You can't smile because they're going to say that you want them around, right? So that was the one thing that she had to learn. But Megan was not a, you know, focus of their attention before Prince Harry. Certainly, she did a few red carpets and things like that, but nothing to the degree of what's happening now. Elaine Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Okay, let me see. I got a couple more picks that I'm going to share with you. So I have long considered the idea that there's a certain I feel like that same energy with our faves that you kind of get from not just John, but also from the president and the first lady. Very much that young, dynamic, youthful, attractive couple, power couple, and people just tend to gravitate to them, right? Always that. So let me get rid of this one, and I'll share a couple of things that I had put together. Let me see here. Okay, I'll start with this one maybe. Is that doable? Let me see. Oh, yes, it is. There we go. So when I saw this, I was just like, oh my God, why does that remind me of the Kennedys? Why does that remind me of the Kennedys? And I have shared this before, but I feel that same energy. I really do. I feel that same, type of energy where you have the artist's wife, right? If in case you guys didn't know, Jackie Kennedy, she actually lived in Paris and she did photography over there, right? I believe it was photography that she did. She spent like what, a year in Paris, and because of her French heritage, she was very keen to hone her skills with the French language. And of course, she spoke French fluently, and she spoke Spanish fluently. And as you know, Megan is fluent with Spanish, and she is conversational, I believe they said, with French. So there's that. You have. I mean, it's just so many things that they have in common. I think, and of course, Megan is known for her skill with calligraphy, as well as the fact that she is a writer. She is very good with the spoken word and writing. And of course, later in life, Jacqueline Kennedy became a book editor. She was an editor for one of the publishing companies. So you see what I mean? There just seems to be these little subtle connections, some subtle and some more pronounced than others. Let me find another one for you. Just a very powerful couple, and people gravitated to them. I mean, Queen Elizabeth and Philip, they were starstruck with the Kennedys, as was a lot of people. There you go. There's that one. You can, skinny necktie, well tailored suit, and of course, the little black dress. The little black dress. How about that? Had this occurred to anyone else before or no? Let's see. Winsome Jones, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for hanging out here tonight or this morning with us. Greatly appreciate it. Take a look at a couple of your comments. Yes, the US ambassador. And before that, she was the ambassador to Japan. She was the ambassador to Japan. Oh, and Joseph P. Kennedy, wasn't he the ambassador to the court of St. James? Meaning, of course, that he was the ambassador to the United Kingdom. And John Kennedy's favorite sister, Kathleen or Kit Kennedy, she was supposed to be the Duchess of Devonshire. Is that right? Devonshire? Chatworth House or whatever. So there's all that. It's a lot of interesting connections. A lot of interesting connections. Like can't say parallel because can you? They lived in completely different times, but the Kennedy Princess Meghan, Prince Harry. Now all I see is a orange clown on TV all the time. Yeah, as they say, and this too shall pass. This too shall pass with any luck. We'll get through the election season and then we'll never have to look at that vicious bowl of jello again. With any luck, we won't have to see that thing again. Okay, let me see. Hmm. Okay, I can take that one away. I want to add one more slide. Okay. Okay, I hope this works. Ah, there we go. There we go. So it says here Jackie Kennedy spoke four languages fluently. Jackie Kennedy spoke English, French, Spanish, and Italian. Oh, I forgot about the Italian. Duchess Meghan speaks at least two foreign languages. The Duchess is fluent in Spanish and recently revealed she is trying to get better at my French over the last year, having learned the language for 8 years prior. So yeah, she studied French before, but you know what they say: if you don't use it, you lose it, and it's so important to immerse yourself in the particular country with the language that you're trying to learn. That makes it so much easier to form your thoughts and to speak your words. So let me see here. Okay, and I have just a couple more. Or I don't know. I mean, uh, well, I mean, I guess it's okay to share those with you. Let me see. um, yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you. Why not? I got to take that away, and that, and that. I mean, I feel weird about this because now it's a, but uh, okay. I mean, but he has grown. He is an adult, so we could. Well, is he an adult there? Yeah, I think so. There we go. There's these famous photos. Well, maybe not that one, but this one for sure. But yeah, one of the things that made a lot of money for the paparazzi was how athletic young John had been most of his life. Very, very athletic. And that made a lot of money for them. Right? Right? That made a lot of money for them. I mean, there were days where you weren't sure that he owned a shirt. So there was that. Okay, sure. One more. One more. Well, let me see. That is probably Hyannisport, where the family has the Kennedy compound, the famous Kennedy compound. You know you're part of the family if you can make it to the Kennedy compound. And if the family is still, they're still a very close knit family. And what I love about them is that even when they disagree, they're still a family. You know, they don't stop being a family because they disagree. So I think that's incredible. Now, one of the very touching photos is this one right here. I'm also going to show you the photographer that took the photo right there. And there's also a video where John, you see that parallel? There he is at his father's funeral, cut down way too young in life. And that is that. Fortunately, he was so young, he probably did not have a good understanding of what was. Well, I'm sure he didn't have a good understanding of everything that was going on. Thank goodness, because that was so painful for the nation. It's a blessing that he don't have to remember it, like most people in the world would. So, okay, and this is the photographer. I don't remember his name, but um, maybe that was Life magazine or something like that. But he took the famous photo. Yeah, kind of like the Corleone family. Once they made all their money, they did everything they could to go mainstream, right? Very much like the Corleones. I mean, I hate to say that, but I think that is probably an accurate way to put it is that they were very much like the Corleones. They went mainstream after they got all that money. Okay, did I have any other? Oh, I guess I'll do this and then I'll have the last word for the day. The other famous photo of John. Again, if you just joined us, tomorrow marks 25 years since we lost our American prince. People considered him to be American royalty, if there ever were such a thing. But the famous photo of John Kennedy Jr. poking his head out of that little door at the Resolute desk. That desk was a gift to the United States president. I forget who the president was at the time, by Queen Victoria. The United States Navy found a ship called the Resolute, the HMS Resolute, and they salvaged it from the ice floe where it was stuck and abandoned, and they gave it back to the British Navy. And to show her gratitude, Queen Victoria had several items made from the timber from that particular ship. And one of the items was this desk called the Resolute. They call it the Resolute desk, and quite a few presidents have used it, including Franklin Roosevelt. You'll notice that they elevated the desk because it was a little bit too low for Franklin Roosevelt's wheelchair, right? So they raised it so he could fit his wheelchair underneath. Also, it was open in the front, right? They put a door there. They had a cabinet maker put a door there so that when the cameras were in the Oval Office, they can hide Franklin Roosevelt's disability. He was not very open about his how extreme his disability was, and he could kind of meander along with the help of his son. His son would aid him, and he would just kind of rock back and forth with some very heavy leg braces, and that was how he was able to stand upright when possible, when he deemed it necessary. But most of the time, he was confined to his wheelchair. And I'm even thinking, did they install the elevator at the White House for him? But yeah, so that was the desk made most famous by John F. Kennedy, but also used by Bill Clinton. I think George Bush Sr., the senior George Bush, he did not use that desk. Didn't want to use it. Let's see. Baron, today someone told me no is so let me see. No is so is a full sentence because it was letting people overwhelm me. Best thing I ever heard. So oh, okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. Let's see here. I had read that the Queen didn't care for the Kennedys, but isn't there a memorial for him in England? Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, the park, if I'm correct, there is it is supposed to be considered as sovereign American territory. This one little square memorial for John F. Kennedy. I don't believe most of that stuff that they say. Um, they are. There's another book that's going after the um, the Duke of Windsor. Um, yeah, I just when people are not here to defend themselves, when there won't be any logical rebuttal, I just don't buy into a lot of those things. And as I understood it, Queen Elizabeth and Philip were pretty starstruck by the Kennedys, among other people. And they were a bit starstruck with the Obamas as well. Um, I think Philip and Lizzie were some of the biggest fans there were on the planet, and they love to get their photographs taken with other people that were, more famous than they were at any given time. They love those connections. So, people in power, people with a lot of money and such, they don't hold grudges the same way poor people do. I don't think so. I don't think so. Their sensibility is so different from what most people experience. So I'm going to say I don't buy that one, but thank you so much for the comment. Uh, 62, 63. And you know what? I think I just found out today, if I read that right, John's birthday was on the 25th, and Carolyn's birthday is on the 27th of November. Their birthdays are days apart. Okay. Were there any more Kennedy photos? I guess I'm going to just close with this one photo for John. And forever, he'll be forever young, won't he? Youthful and vigorous and young. Oh, let me see. How can I do that? All right. Kind of let that one get away. Nope. How do I keep the music playing and still remain best of friends? Oh, there we go. Got it. There you go. There you go. You can see his father's looks. You can definitely, those eyes are his mother's eyes. Definitely has his mother's eyes. And I find that with a lot of men, especially the youngest one in the family, they usually have their mom's eyes. So 25 years, 25 years. But let us not be sad. Let's celebrate the time that he had. Um, it is tragic the way it ended, but yeah, I still cannot believe that happened. I could not believe that happened. So, and thank you all for letting me share this with you. Um, I'm still, I'm just still sad about it. I am sad about it. At the time when he lost his mother, right? When he lost his mother, and that was at a time when there were a few people in my family that were suffering from cancer. And I just remembered I felt like that connection because, I felt like, even though I didn't know him, that he was going through the exact same thing, which I suppose he was. I suppose he was. So um, that's why it's so hard for me to believe some of what they have been saying about Charles and that other one, because when you've seen cancer and you've seen, what it does to people, and then you look at those two, it's just like, are you sure you got cancer? Right? So that's how a lot of people are feeling about that, I'm sure. And then, of course, we will close with a last word from Harry. 1 hour, 20 minutes. How did that happen? I got to get out of here. I didn't mean to be on here that long. Okay. All right. So I'm going to grab this from over here and we will wrap it up. Thank you all for coming back um, after I lost my connection, but we made it do what it do and it worked out. I'm just like shuffling a lot of files to bring up things as I need them. But you know what? When that storm was coming, I felt a pain, a pinch in my shoulder like you wouldn't believe. And now that the storm has passed, the pain seemed to have gone away. Anyway, one of the squatties made this. Some people will hate you simply because they see you enjoying the success they don't have from the work they haven't done. Did you get all that? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? One more time. Some people will hate you because, um, simply because, rather, they see you enjoying the success they don't have from the work they haven't done. They have not done the work. So let that sink in. Let that sink in. Try, try to avoid negativity in your day to day lives. Sometimes it's not possible. And sometimes, because of love, we look the other way. We accept the things that we cannot change, as they say. All of that is understandable. We're not superheroes, we're just people. Also, avoid the tabloid media. Avoid them, not just about the Sussexes, but for some of everything in life, because they are making so much money by these these hate campaigns and all the negativity. They are making so much money. It's incredible. Earlier today, and from Duchess of Success, she did a thing about the young lady who was contacted by the Daily Mail, and they accused her of being greedy and unemployed. And this young lady, ironically, is studying journalism, and she didn't understand what the Daily Mail was. But believe me, there's a lot of people that do not know what the Daily Mail is. It's almost impossible to not encounter the Daily Mail. And for those of us who have in the past, we didn't know what type of paper it was. It's not until they target someone that you love and respect that you get the full weight of how destructive they are. That's when you figure that out, is when they target people that you respect, that you love, that you know, you know. even if it's from news accounts and social media and such, but you know them in a different way. And then all of a sudden, there's this blighted image that has been conjured up by the Daily Mail that does not bear any resemblance to the person that you've come to know or the people that you've come to know. And that's when you figure out who the Daily Mail is. So I think anyone should be forgiven if they don't understand the evil that comes from the Daily Mail or the Sun. These people that target civilians, just innocent people, family people. That's not the first time that they've done something like that. It won't be the last, unfortunately. I hope it is. But I read about the young lady who, uh, she was a teenager, died suddenly from just the seasonal flu. And it, became progressively worse. She wound up in the hospital and everything. And it seemed like they were blaming her mother for it. Why didn't you get her to the hospital sooner? And then it encourages other people to play detective and to try to solve the case of why you're such a awful person, right? Things that they don't have a right to, but they do it anyway because of the tabloid media. So yeah, do be careful. Don't let them in your spaces. Now, I um, owe a debt of gratitude to a lot of the people on social media that I use for reference here and there. And then for things that really I need to go a little deeper. I actually look up the article myself. I have to verify that these photos are not doctored or anything because, you know, these things can, not necessarily from the squatty, of course, but it may have been shared over and over again and it's not even accurate. So you have to verify. Trust, but verify is what they say. So, but I couldn't do all of this if it wasn't for them. And it keeps me away from giving engagement to the tabloids any more than necessary. So that is also another great thing is that I don't have to give them that engagement, but yet I'm able to find these stories and I can share these things. So I am very thankful for that. So with that, you all, I am done. Thank you so much. I will read a few of your comments before I go. Uh, let's see. Absolutely, Baron. I did not know about the Daily Fail until I became part of the Sussex squad. Yeah. Yep. 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 A friend of mine is very much into the MCR, My Chemical Romance, the band. And because of the very dark lyrics and the dark tones, the black and red, the whole emo thing, they accused him of being some type of, for lack of a better word, death cult, which is interesting because the people that they uplifted and cherish and protect, the British royal family, there are people that would say the same thing about them. But instead of going after the royal family, they decide to go after these young people making music. So it is the hypocrisy that is breathtaking, but yeah, and that is how he got to know about the Daily Mail is because there a lot of these young people that didn't even know about the Daily Mail, suddenly their favorite band was being targeted. And they weren't interested in the truth. It was just sensationalized. So um, hopefully one of these days they will um, bring those tabloids to their knees. I hope so. Oh, you like MCR? Oh, very cool. Yeah, I love their music too. Um, I didn't know anything about them until someone shared the band with me, and I'm just like, you know what? They're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. And the thing that they don't mention in the tabloids is that the lead singer is all about mental wellness. It took him a while to get there, but now he's all about, if I need to take my meds, I'll take my meds. And he's a much more productive, stronger person. He's a father now, and he's got so much going for him. And the other part of, I don't know if they reported this in the Daily Mail, but when that band was formed, the lead singer actually went to New York because he wanted to do a comic book. Uh, yeah, he created comic book characters. And the day that he was supposed to have a meeting was the day that the towers fell. And he had to go back home without having had the meeting because of the Twin Towers. And so, out of pain and anguish over what happened on 9/11, he and his brother and a couple of other people formed the band My Chemical Romance. Now, what a beautiful story is that? And I don't know what the article accused him of, but I'm pretty sure that something that amazing was totally lost in the story, and they did not care to know anything positive about them. So, interesting coincidence. Let's see. I replayed it, so I enjoyed the podcast too. Thank God for the Squatty podcast, because negative news on TV about Orange Men and MAGA people, the thing that brought me to the Sussexes was because I happened to be in London, traveling in Europe when they got married. And so I was one of those faces in the crowd. But what kept me was, it wasn't Donald Trump. It wasn't the Orange Man. I felt as though I could enjoy Harry and Meghan. I could watch them grow. I could watch Meghan become this royal princess, and I could be proud of her and everything. That was all I wanted. That was all I wanted, was just to be proud, to watch them work together, and to see what's possible, how this American woman of African descent ends up in this fairy tale situation. That is the distraction that I wanted to avoid Donald Trump. And so that's how I found everything. And at a certain point, when I heard Tina and Michelle, they were saying, "Oh, we need some more voices out here. If you want to start a channel, we'll help you." Well, nobody ever got back to me. I'm just going to keep it 100. Nobody ever got back to me. And then I tried someone else, and they didn't get back to me either. So I just had to try to sort it out. And I did figure some things out. And here I am. And with a great deal of gratitude to, oh gosh, Liberia Rose. Yeah, that's it. That's her handle. She helped me out a great deal at the start of Royal Sussex, and she's one of the members of the Royal Sussex. But so with that and a few other things, I was able to piece it all together, and it has been amazing. And so I didn't know that I would enjoy it so much, but I do. And even though I exhausted myself trying to do some other things and make that video that took 2 days, I was glad to do it. I was committed, and it was like, no way I wasn't going to finish it. And it was great, and I enjoyed it. And as you edit those things, I think you can learn a lot about the subject or the topic, and it kind of stays with you because you're repeating certain parts with the editing process. So that made it a lot of fun and interesting too. So, but yeah, I learned so much from doing Royal Sussex, and not just about the royal family, not just about the Sussexes, but so many other things. And that has been highly, highly cherished by me from the start. And I always will. And thank you all for making this possible. And as I've said so many times, thank you for trusting me to do this work because, um, people have been burned, people have been hurt, misled, and everything. It makes it that much more uh, flattering to me that anybody could say, I like what you're doing or whatever. I like that because it lets me know that I'm doing things to the best of my ability and that there's someone who's getting something out of it, I hope. So there you go. Oh, that's a good idea. That is a very good idea. Oh yeah, that first live chat. I had what I had I guess bought my subscription for the um StreamYard, and then I think it was like another week or another month before I actually used it. And next thing I know, I'm looking and I'm seeing people in the chat. I'm like, what? I couldn't believe it. I didn't send out any notice or anything like that. But yeah, trying to figure out this StreamYard, God, that was a lot of work. That was a lot of work. The StreamYard, that one really threw me. But I got it figured out. I still don't know what everything is, but I can I figured out enough of it to at least look convincing. I'm gonna try one more time and see if the slides are working, but it should work tomorrow, I hope. That was so weird that it would not let me bring up the slides earlier, but it happens. I try not to dwell on the negative things and just I have all of the gratitude in the world for the many times that things have gone right. That's what I try to focus on. Instead of thinking about the one or two bad times, I think about the numerous times that everything worked the way it was supposed to. I mean, these things are a technological marvel. Oh, thank you, Kim Harris. I really, really, really appreciate you saying that. I love it. Thank you so much. And I'm very grateful that you're here. Okay. Yeah, empathy is so important. It really is. It is so important. Let's see. Thanks for sharing some things you use. I'm trying to figure things out so I can help lend a voice to support the Sussexes. Yeah, well, I tell you, I I couldn't even articulate these things. I just gosh, what was that I learned the other day? It was something in the slides that I just learned the other day, and it's one of those things that I don't necessarily need it every day, but now that I've figured it out, it's very helpful. But um, one of the things that I did to move things along is that I would watch those how-to videos, and sometimes I would just like go through the steps with them. But most of it is just a lot of trial and error, trial and error. and eventually it just comes about. But so what is this going on 3 years of trial and error, and somehow it all comes together, and still there's some things that I should know how to do and I have no clue. Rosita's 23 months membership. Thank you so much for that. Keep up the great work, Baron. We love you. Oh, thank you very much, Rositas. I really, really love you all. Okay. Um, the positive things in my life, I like to learn new things. I like to learn things I didn't know. Um, what else? And I try every day to um, mentor or teach or share with the people that I'm closest to. And of course, I'm always encouraging people to travel to get out of their safety zone. Um, and also, I had a little charity of my own that I'm not really ready to share the details of it, but um, it was just something that I did on a hunch because I thought it would be helpful, and it had such an amazing ending. I mean, it was just like, you know, we don't need your help anymore. Um, if you want to do something for someone else. And I'm like, okay, okay. But it was just something that I started, and it worked out so much better than I could have possibly thought. It was one of those things where when that voice inside says, do, I do. When it says share, I share, right? If it says help, I help. I don't know exactly whose voice it is. I'm going to assume that it is from the great above. And who knows? It could be one of the ancestors. Don't know. But I do. And it worked out so well. And even though I put my resources into it, I feel so blessed that it reassures me that there's good people in this world, and also that I was in a position to help. I feel like it's a greater blessing to be in a position to help someone than it is to receive help. That's how I feel about it. Only because, I don't think I've ever been that bad off that I, was just hopeless or whatever. But still, to me, it's a blessing to be able to lend a hand or to help someone else. So that is the greatest blessing I could think of. All right. And with that, I am going to uh, say good night to you all or good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so we went an hour and 45 minutes. But I'm going to try to come on early tomorrow. And I mean, like I did earlier today. And I do want to split up the Royal Sussex into two parts. I know I've been saying that for quite some time, but I get so carried away and I just keep layering and adding more stuff. And but no, that is my long-term goal is, if I could break them up a bit. So because I think a lot of these the title, you can only see so much of the title on the thumbnail. You can only squeeze so much there, right? And so I feel like I'm not getting the viewers for certain topics that should be there only because there's so much other stuff layered onto it. And I don't think it's as efficient like that. So, you know, but me being so chatty, we'll see how it goes. Okay. All right. So that's it. Um, and the other thing, I'm gonna try not to drag out the endings like I've been doing for the longest. What happens? I don't know. It just seems like it takes a month of Sundays. So yeah. Mm, well, I tell you what. Let us close with Once Upon a Time. I am in the mood for Once Upon a Time. So yeah. Once Upon a Time. All right. Love you guys. Okay, that didn't work. What is happening today? Why is nothing working like it's supposed to? And I promise you, I must have done that a million times, and I cannot bring up the Once Upon a Time. Oh, now see, now I see it. There you go. Okay, no, it's not working. Why is that not working? That never gets old. It doesn't. That never gets old. I mean, just. And I love the way you can hear the harp. You know, you could just hear the harp playing. Um, I know I need to update those desperately. Oh my goodness, but I dread going through all of the and it's not that it's so difficult, but I nitpick. I nitpick. And I want to add what I think are the best videos, right? Like with the Ginger Avenger, the best video, the best photo. And by the time I do that, it's like, uh, no, not this one. Then I got to try to find the other. It's so cumbersome. It's so, but I do want to do an update to all of these. So I will at some point, but I dread looking through everything because how do I know that's the best? I can't share all of them. You know what I mean? How do I know which is best? So I exhaust myself because I want it to be just right. And the Ginger Avenger is like it made itself. All I did was just throw a couple of things out there and it came out perfect. And this one, perfect. And Madam Duchess, perfect. Maybe I'm afraid I won't be able to make it perfect, you know? So I don't even feel like I'm responsible for it. I just threw the stuff together. It seemed like it made itself, if that makes sense. So perfect. Perfection. My friends in Italy, super hot, hot, hot. Oh, yeah. I hear that it's like 42 Celsius around the Mediterranean right now. It gets really hot in Italy. It does. In Spain, even worse. Oh my God, Spain gets hot. And if you don't know how hot Spain is, um, Spain is so hot, right? Uh, hold on. This is going to be very tacky, but I'm going to do it anyway. Spain is so hot that um wait, where is it? Let me show you how hot Spain is. Spain is so hot that it actually wait, did I do that right? Okay. It's so hot that it's actually brought a mother of 3 off of sick leave. That's how hot Spain is. Spain is so hot that a mother of 3 suddenly seems to be cured. That's how hot Spain is. Spain is so hot, it makes you stay up late and wake up early. That's how hot Spain is. You see what I'm saying? Do you see that ridiculous look that she has on her face? That's because Spain is hot. So, just for reference, if you ever want to know how hot Spain is, just remember this moment. Yeah, I mean, I could always have 2 versions, right? That's not a bad idea. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. But yeah, Spain is so hot that in spite of the advice from the medical team, she was able to jump that little bag of bones up out of bed and get down there to Wimbledon before the moment was lost. Hot. Oh, I don't have it here. Um, I didn't save the photo, but wow, if you think that that's hot, the whole family is hot. The whole family. It's a beautiful family. Yeah, the whole family is beautiful. Okay. Now that I have been completely tacky, my throat is so dry. That is better. But now that I have been completely ghastly and tacky, now I'm gonna go. Yeah. Very, very wise. I didn't think about it like that. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but you're right. Just make a different one and keep the other ones. See, you see how important the squad is? You all are problem solvers. I didn't even think about that. For some reason, I'm just like, ah, if I change it, what if I don't like it? Well, keep both of them. That is just too easy. But thank you so much. See, I'd be too hard on myself. I'm always trying to do a good job, and I tend to stifle myself for that reason. But thank you. All right. Good night. God bless, and see you all tomorrow. Hot. It is very hot in Spain. It's very hot there. It's so hot you just want to take off all your clothes. Let them look. Let them look.